is enough said.
Happy Taco Tuesday, Heat Nation. Your boy Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Guys, before we get started, please don't forget to show the support. Like, share, subscribe, because now we're on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Please join me as we go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. Now, before we get started with today's episode, you guys, got a couple shout outs I want to do. Been giving you guys a recent challenge. If you get me to 100 likes in an episode, I'm going to shout out a comment. The last 3 episodes haven't really gotten to 100 likes. Not recently, but I did notice today that even though the last video we didn't hit 100 likes, the 2 prior that I posted just hit 100 likes on both of them. So y'all know I like to spoil y'all, so I'm going to pick 2 comments from yesterday's episode to highlight. First comment made me laugh. Second comment translates into the episode I want to do. First one I'm going to mention is my boy Master of Rage. My guy has been following me for a while now, supporting me on the comments. You a real one, my G. He writes, because the episode I put yesterday was about Drew Holiday being traded to the Miami Heat. If you haven't seen that, go check that one out after today's episode. Master of Rage writes, not interested. Plus we got Davian Mitchell, and in all caps, so no! Awesome. Second comment I chose came from NO-DW5ZC. I mean, awesome. I didn't really get what that one was. But he said Kevin Durant and Drew Holiday in combination, yes. This would make sense. But I think it would be better to rebuild some first rounder for Tyler Hero and Bam and Tank to the next 2 seasons. I don't know how you can fix this current roster. And the reason why I'm picking this comment to translate to today's episode, even though I do agree, if you are rebuilding and tanking, the best solution is to trade Tyler and Bam to try to get as much draft capital as you can. But Pat Riley's running this team, you guys. So no, that's not going to happen. If Eric Spoelstra became took over Pat Riley's position, and then one of the other assistant coaches became the head coach, yeah, I can see something like this happening. But Pat wants to win, you guys. And the Miami Heat are going to have flexibility to make trades. I've mentioned this before. You're going to have expiring contracts like Duncan Robinson, Terry Rozier, Andrew Wiggins is on the player option for 2027, so his contract could even be expiring. You also have young assets like Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, and Pelle Larson. You have 3 tradable first-round draft picks that you can include in trades. So this is the first time in a while where the Miami Heat have actually had multiple assets for trades. And in this episode, you guys, because I've talked a lot about, trades and what players we can get and who can be the best fit on this roster. But one thing I haven't talked about is what the roster would look like after one of these trades are made. I've mentioned it a little bit, but I haven't really dug deep. So that's what we're going to do in today's episode. So this is basically a hypothetical situation for the people that are going to get in my comments and go crazy saying, oh my God, a trade hasn't happened. I know, but one player that's been really linked to the Miami Heat lately and that I feel is the best scenario to trade for is Kevin Durant. And the reason why, you guys, Kevin Durant falls in the timeline for what the Miami Heat's looking to do. Pat's trying to go after it next year. Kevin Durant, who is making about $54.7 million next season, is on an expiring contract. Now, if you trade for him, if you work out an extension or not, that's another conversation. Even though Kevin Durant will be 37 years old in September, he's still one of the best offensive players in the NBA. He's transitioned his game to a point where longevity is a factor for Kevin Durant. Averaged about almost 27 points a game last year. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, a steal, 40% from 3. You know what you get with Kevin Durant. He's one of the best scorers in this game. He gives the Miami Heat exactly what they need. We saw what the Heat were lacking. Another scorer, another guy that can score consistently with Tyler, and that'll allow Bam Adebayo to be his own presence as the third option. Kevin Durant gives Miami that. Now teams are not just going to scheme after Tyler Hero. So if you trade for Kevin Durant, it's going to open the floor more for Tyler Hero and Kevin Durant to play their game. We've seen Kevin Durant play great with guys like Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook. If he has another elite level scorer next to him, he'll have a dominating team. The problem with Phoenix, though, was Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's not that guy anymore, and they didn't build the right roster around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. That Bradley Beal trade should have never happened. They should have kept Durant and Booker and built around them. That would have been the perfect thing. But Matt Ishbia and a lot of teams still think that this big three mentality is the best thing to do. Didn't. And for those people that remember the big three in Miami, players were taking less money to go play with LeBron. It's not happening in Phoenix. So Phoenix are going to count their losses. They're going to cut their costs, and they're going to try to get rid of Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant doesn't want to be there. We know Kevin Durant's being traded. And right now, it was reported on a recent episode with 5 Reasons Sports with Ethan Skolnick. He had, I can't remember his name, but he had a reporter on from the Phoenix Suns. And this guy was specifically saying that Phoenix Suns, that the front office, they know they made a mistake with Bradley Beal. They know they made a mistake with that trade. So now they need to try to create some flexibility so they can go after another player to pair with Devin Booker. You're stuck with Bradley Beal for the next 2 years. Unless his final year, you can trade him and get him to waive his no trade clause. But you're stuck. So right now, you're going to try to trade Kevin Durant. And one report that recently came out, you guys, since Phoenix don't have a draft pick this year, if they're going to trade Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat, I'm sure that 20th pick that the Miami Heat has is going to entice the Phoenix Suns. It's going to allow them to start this retool process. And then the Miami Heat, because other players are going to be out there, you know, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the shiny prize. All these teams that are vying for him that could potentially trade for Kevin Durant, I'm sure they're not going to pull the trigger with Durant because they're going to go after Giannis. And in my opinion, guys, Giannis is probably going to go out west. He's probably going to go to Houston, San Antonio, maybe even Dallas, maybe OKC, depending if they win a championship or not. So if you do that, and if Giannis goes out west, the West is becoming more of a firehouse, more of a firepower. Kevin Durant can go to the Miami Heat in an Eastern Conference that's depleted. Boston's not going to be a thing next year. Your 3 main teams are going to be New York, Indiana, and, oh my God, I'm brain farting. I mean, Detroit's out there, Cleveland, I'm sorry. Maybe even Philadelphia, but Miami can compete with these teams with Kevin Durant. Strike now while it's hot. And if I'm the Miami Heat, let's say, in this hypothetical situation, the Miami Heat don't have to include Andrew Wiggins in a trade because I know what Phoenix is going to be looking to do. They're going to be looking for expiring contracts, young assets, and a draft capital. The Heat can include all 3. Kevin Durant makes $54.7 million. In this trade scenario I'm trying to do, you guys, I'm trying to keep the Miami Heat under the first apron level. One great thing about the tax line this year, you guys, the first apron is going up from $178 to $195 million. Right now, the Miami Heat have $176 million in cap space right now as we speak. So they're under the first apron line, which means they get their $14.1 million mid-level exception. So if you're going to try to do a trade, you're going to try to stay under that $195 million tax line. I know it sounds boring, but this is a big deal. So the Heat can include Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic. That's a lot. Maybe not Nikola Jovic, maybe just Jaime Jaquez. You're giving Phoenix a young asset in Jaime Jaquez, you're giving them an elite shooter in Duncan Robinson, and you're giving them Terry Rozier, who is terrible right now, but will be on an expiring contract. So see what you can get. After the 2026 season, you get Duncan and Rozier off your books. Maybe you can move Bradley Beal, and now you can start retooling. You take that 20th pick that the Heat are going to give you, get a player there. Jaime Jaquez still has time to grow. I think it's a smart trade. Maybe they don't take Terry Rozier. Maybe it's Andrew Wiggins. Maybe that gets the deal done. I'd be okay with that too. I wouldn't want to include both Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I would love to keep Nikola Jovic. I really would. But in this hypothetical situation, let's say it's Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and Jaime Jaquez going out, and the 20th pick. So now you're going to have a starting lineup with Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant, Tyler Hero, and Davion Mitchell, which is insane. Probably going to be one of the best starting lineups in the East. I would say maybe trade Andrew Wiggins, but if you can keep Andrew Wiggins and convince him to be the sixth man of this team, that would be deep. That would be amazing. Andrew Wiggins coming off your bench as your sixth man. You have Haywood Highsmith coming back for another year. You can re-sign Alec Burks. You're going to keep Hillel Larson. You're going to have Keishad Johnson, Josh Christopher, and Isaiah Stevens for another year. You're going to have Kyle Anderson. This team will be good enough to compete in the East. And if you're able to make this trade, let's not forget you have that $14.1 million mid-level exception. Give that to Steven Adams. Have Steven Adams come off the bench and be that bruiser, be that dog for the Miami Heat, which is something they're lacking. I think the Heat need to get a player like that, or make a trade for Bobby Portis from Milwaukee. That's another option as well. You need a dog on this team. This team got punked out against Cleveland a lot in the playoffs. You need a dog, in my opinion. So Heat Nation, I want to hear from you. What do you think about that potential lineup? Because I think that's a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference next year, barring injury. So I want to hear from you, Heat Nation. What do you think about Kevin Durant on this team? What do you think about that potential lineup? Maybe it's a different trade that gets it done. Only time will tell. But I'll tell you this. If the Miami Heat want to trade for Kevin Durant, that 20th pick is going to be very shiny. So I think the Heat are going to get that trade done sooner rather than later. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We're pushing to 7,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for the continued support. And until next time, your boy Ernest out. And that is enough said.